Canada's hardest working comedian, Ron James, is back to talk about the second season of his hilarious comedy series, One Man's Treasure. Start digging him next on Brio TV, the podcast. Hi there, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Bill Brio. Every week I talk with the people who make the television we love. This conversation, however, it's a little bit different. My guest is Ron James, the Iron Man of the Canadian comedy circuit. He's been for years performing coast to coast all across Canada. I've known and been interviewing Ron for a long time, and he's been a guest here before. The last time, I think, was when his wonderful book, Ron James, All Over the Map, Rambles and Ruminations from the Canadian Road, came out in 2021. Last October, I traveled down the QEW to the Niagara region to visit Ron, who was shooting the second season of his Bell Fibe series, One Man's Treasure. Ron's playing a guy much like himself, only trying harder to get off the road by digging up an Oak Island-style treasure. Check it out now. It's up on Bell Fibe. Ron was in Niagara shooting with Pat McKenna, a friend since way back in the day at the Second City stage in Toronto. Many will know Pat from the Red Green Show, where he played Nephew Harold, as well as Traders and other series. Producer Lynn Harvey was also part of the sleek little crew working the series that day. The idea was to catch up and talk about, the series, boosted this season with guest appearances from Sun Hyung Lee, Kathy Greenwood, and Amanda Cordner from Sort of. So we sat out in a park on what was a very sunny, pleasant fall day, and the conversation turned to deeper things, such as aging into our 60s, or as Ron says, the third quarter of the game where you're still trying to find the purpose in life. So, this is outdoors. That's why it's different and recorded just off my phone. You'll hear the great doors, including the occasional chopper overhead and even a hawk. So I've scheduled this to premiere on Canada Day, July 1st, because you can't get more Canadian than listening to Ron James and Pat McKenna in Niagara on a sunny fall day, surrounded by maple leaves, picnic tables, and craft services. And here they are.
Jerry Seinfeld's show, Coffee and Cars with Comedians.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the equivalent of that called Canadian Comedians in Canoes Getting Shit-Faced. And
that'd be awesome.
We just pass a pint of rye or rum back and forth. One's pointing one direction, one's in the other direction, and we're both paddling our arse off and not really getting anywhere.
Yeah. I'd watch that.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Even Canadian comedians in cars, where they're just trying to de-ice the lock.
That's a great idea. De-ice the ox and scraping the ice off the windshield.
And you got to put all your hockey gear in first. The sticks are right where you try to use them.
Buddy, the tour I had last year around in the West, 17 dates, never got above minus 30. And it was minus
30.
Never got above minus 30.
Where were you?
I was in Manitoba, Saskatoon, and Alberta. Yeah.
In February or?
No, this was in November, December.
Minus 30?
It was minus 30. Actually, in Saskatoon, it was closer to minus 40. And they came into the Broadway Theater. Theater was packed, looking like Shackleton's Lost Expedition, with foot-long snot popsicles.
Pat's getting into it.
I'm telling you, man, what a joy to work.
You guys are having fun, eh?
Oh, my jumping Jesus, Bill.
Good.
Laughing all the time. And he's such a pro, but he's such a good friend. I've known him for 40 years.
Really?
40 years I've known him. Yep. And, he came into Second City, I think a cast after me, cast or two after, a cast after me, I think. And, my experience at main stage wasn't exactly a barrel of monkeys. And, I really didn't find my voice comedically until I got into stand-up and was able to make sense of the world on my own terms without having to filter it through 6 other people in a politically volatile cast.
Right.
And
because it's a whole other animal, isn't it? Different muscles you're using if you're doing that.
It's a whole other animal, right? And I learned the fundamentals of stagecraft, right? I was spoiled to, you're a younger person and you think, oh, this is what it's like all the time with a packed theater on 2 shows Friday, 2 on Saturday, Monday to Thursday, making $350 a week, right? With half-price beer.
Back then, it's not too shabby.
Pretty good money, but moving into stand-up. Anyway, Pat did the show last year, and we've got Jayne Eastwood on this year.
Oh God,
just signed.
That's comedy gold.
And but what's nice about this ensemble crew, last year we started shooting. We shot in Nova Scotia, and Lynn Harvey, who I've worked with since 2006, when we shot my second special, Quest for the West, and then of course we went on to the series and 4 more specials. But Thomas Conway was in working with me on my last special, and he
as a writer.
No, he wasn't. He was a script.
Supervisor? Or?
No. He had no real high position. Thomas! Sorry. I should know that. Anyway, he was in the room with Scott Montgomery and Paul Pogue and myself. And then, canceled, and then we went on to our own lives and stuff, and then COVID came, and then he pitched Lynn on an idea that he had for me.
Oh, nice.
And you're darn tootin'. And it was so nice to step into this thing without having to wear 3 hats, without having to write it,
right,
and perform it, and be an executive producer, right? And
so was his idea this one man's treasure? That sort of
that was his idea, and he married my own ADH-addled absent-mindedness into my passion for treasure hunt. But it's also the premise of the piece is really the Campbellian journey. It's trying to find a sense of purpose.
We'll be right back with more from Ron James after this word from one of our sponsors. Well, the weather outside is frightfully hot. So time for a little super channel and chill with the return of Christmas in July. If you can't wait till winter to binge Christmas movies, Super Channel Heart and Home has you covered. They've got titles such as Toying with the Holidays, starring Chad Michael Murray as a model train enthusiast and Cindy Busby as a workaholic single mom. And what workaholic single mom doesn't want to hook up with a model train nerd? Yes, these former classmates are about to take that last train to Hartsville. Am I right, ladies? There are other intriguing festive titles this month, including 'Twas the Text Before Christmas. This one features veteran Canadian actress Jayne Eastwood as an accidental matchmaker. Many of these holiday films are shot in Canada, feature plenty of Canadian stars, and why not? Where else are you going to find plenty of snow and ice, or at least hockey rinks for crews to scoop up some white stuff for a shoot in July or August? Not into Christmas? There's plenty of non-holiday dramas and docu-series on Super Channel Fuse, one of 4 channels on the all-Canadian service. And remember, Super Channel is available via most cable providers, as well as streaming live and on demand with Amazon Prime Video channels, Apple TV Plus, and Fubo. And here he is again, Ron James.
This is Bill Brio. This is Thomas Conway. And Tom, what was your position in the original? What was your title when you were working with us?
Oh, I was script coordinator.
Script coordinator. There we are. Anyway, I wanted you to meet him, Bill, because he actually drove the idea, and here we are, older, I got 30 years on Tom, but anyway. And
I have 31.
And here we are at this, as my buddy calls it, the third quarter. In the game,
right?
And you're still trying to find purpose in life. You want to have a purpose-driven life,
right?
And I think my character, we set the premise up last year, was that he hit a wall during COVID, had a close call on the road with a Peterbilt truck, which is absolutely true,
right?
And I've had my fair share of near-death experiences on strips of widow-making asphalt in my day. And so I said, to hell with it, I can't do the road anymore. I packed in the stand-up and I went back to Nova Scotia, bought myself a house and a little boat. And in the boat, I found a map to Captain Kidd's treasure on Oak Island. So I start the hunt. But it becomes more than just the hunt for than the gold. It becomes the journey.
Sure.
And I remember talking to Tom about this. I was up in the Yukon years ago shooting a road oats for my series. And I spent a day with a hard rock gold miner who had 31 claims along El Dorado Creek. He was 75 years old.
Wow.
And he had his own gold in a cabinet in the kitchen that he melted down. He had 31 claims. And he lived a very humble life. And he looked at me and said, it's not about the gold, it's about the treasure. It's about the hunt. Mm-hmm. And I think this is what gives my character a sense of purpose at this stage of his life, is that it's the hunt. It's the journey, not the grail at the end of the trail, but the journey. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and the joke of it all is it's a real mix of Ron thinking that he's Indiana Jones, but he's actually Clark Griswold. He runs straight into the wall as opposed to over it. So.
Right.
Yeah. So we were able to play a lot of physical comedy. And last year, Jonathan Torrance directed.
Yeah,
does a great job down in Nova Scotia, and he's got a wonderful team down there.
Yeah.
But this year we moved up to Ontario for location and convenience purposes.
Yeah.
And now we've got Mike Sikora directing, and he brought his team along, and we have people from our series who worked with us, half a dozen people from the series, and so there's a nice sense of family and community and fun.
And you don't need 18 white trucks along the road, right? Like, I love the video village. Like, I just get a tripod with a couple of phones.
Well, that's the way you got to work right now.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And as I said to you earlier, somebody else has said the only direction any network wants to see somebody with white eyebrows walking is out the friggin' door. You know, it's like me and Lisa LaFlamme are playing shuffleboard at the Legion. So to be here, and you know what?
You should have Lisa on your show. That's what you find at the end. She's in the vault.
That would be nice. Wouldn't that be great? But here's the thing. It's lean and it's satisfying.
Yeah.
And you don't need all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
I've always been used. I mean, I've never really been in projects that have been with extravagant budgets, other in the days, you'd get a week or two in an American film and you'd go, holy Jesus, there's some deep pockets coming up.
Yeah.
People talk about, you've been on those Disney sets.
Yes.
Right? So, come on in, Pat.
Oh, that was good.
And Lynn, here. You know Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious.
How are you?
Good to see you. Thank you.
Oh, right. Come on, have a seat, buddy.
Anyway. Yeah.
You want to sit?
No.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So we're able to, just have a riot. Look, there's Timbits on the counter and coffee, and
It's getting better and better.
we're living large, bro.
We're just talking about the premise of the show and everything. And the idea, like I'm 66. I think you're younger.
65.
Yeah. Was that a milestone for you? Is that like? And I know this is a story of what's happened to this guy, but for you as well, buying this house, everything else, did that number mean anything or
Absolutely,
not?
it did. Yeah. And it's becoming more. Crossing that threshold at 65, you just become more conscious of mortality. Right? There's more years behind you than there are ahead.
Friends started dying.
Oh, buddy, you took the words out of my mouth. I was about to say, I'm going to get used to going to celebrations of life.
Yeah.
I buried my best friend this year in June.
Yeah, mine in February.
Did you?
Yeah.
And everybody's, they're fighting something. My mom had a fall in her kitchen this summer, broke a bone in her neck. She's 91. She's going into a home. So that's going to be, and our house on Oxford Street in Halifax was a sanctuary for my buddies and relations, and anyone who crossed the threshold got a drink of rum or a hot cup of tea and a biscuit. I mean, Mom made pigskin and hot tea, and and so to have Pat here and someone from the old days who's still playing, or if I may say, playing at the top of his game.
Yeah.
That's what you bring to the game at this stage of your life, is all this knowledge of 42 years in comedy.
And because when you're doing it, that this is what you really want to do.
Yeah. It's so, and particularly when you're working with somebody who has the same vocabulary.
Right.
Because we come back from that background, so you can just trust each other. If you go off script, I'll go with you. If I go off, he'll come with me.
Yeah.
And we're just yes-anding the scene the whole time. As long as we're staying in the scene, it seems to everything moves forward in such an organic way here that people support that. I find that great on this set. There's a lot of support for your ideas.
Because you have instincts to look for the funny all the time, right?
Yeah, and because coming in as a guest, they've been looking at the script like for a while. So sometimes you come in and you go, I could say this, I could say that, and they're all like, that as long as it advances the story, let's do that.
Right.
And it's been pretty terrific that way. I think the story's going to get stronger that way.
Where did you two first meet?
Ron was on the main stage at Second City, and I used to work the door.
Really?
So that would be 1981?
Yeah, I got on main stage in 81, from the Torco.
Yeah.
Fall of 81. Was it fall of 82?
Maybe
No,
82.
I started in 81 in the Torco. I got hired, and I was in the Torco for a year. So I put one summer in Deerhurst, my second summer in Deerhurst, and then I got in September of 82.
We've talked about this before. Who was that? Bruce Peary? Was he part of that? Or
Yeah, Bruce Peary, Kathy Lasky, Deb McGrath, John Hempel, and Donnie Lake.
Don Lake.
Isn't he great?
Yeah.
Have you interviewed
him last night?
Years ago.
Looks and well, he's like Pat, affable, easy to work with, and
funny.
Brings his A game, and naturally funny all the time.
Yeah. Cool.
Did you see him on Space Force?
No.
Oh Jesus! Watch him on Space Force. He feels it. Him and Steve Carell and who was the other guy?
Oh.
The guy from Steppenwolf.
Yeah. Francis Guinan? No.
John Malkovich.
Oh God!
Yeah,
really? I gotta get caught up on that. There's so many shows, right?
And
That's the thing.
And the second season, everybody gets their moment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very equitable. It's like those cast scenes you tried to create at Second City where everybody got their moment.
Yeah.
Which were always the toughest.
Yeah.
But that's where Pat and I go back to that. Back to those days.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I would watch Ron on stage every night, learn how to do this improv and comedy.
Paid off.
And say, well, I'm not doing that.
Hardly. It was great. It was a good time.
Yeah, we're just talking about Robin Williams today when he came down and improvised with us.
Wow.
Yeah, that was way back in I was only there a month, so that was he was playing the Hummingbird Center and doing an episode of SCTV.
Really?
Yeah, Pat was working the door.
Yeah.
I was on stage. I didn't even have the main stage chops yet. Robin Williams came down. He did 2 hours at the Hummingbird Center. He came down. He did. He improvised with us for an hour. Then did an hour of new material. Then went to a speakeasy. And then shot with us. And then shot SCTV in the morning.
Wow. It's amazing now. I catch myself more and more watching little nuggets of that on my phone from those days from the CTV, and and it never gets old.
It doesn't get old, does it?
It never gets old.
So I'm walking by Jason George, the pub in my neighborhood, and walking by Jason George, just heading to the market, and there's a dude standing outside Jason George having a smoke. I walk past him, he goes, "That's boobs." Just Das Boobs.
Yeah.
I said, you mean when we did the takeoff on Porky's and Das Boat? Yeah, that was a good sketch. I said it was 35 years ago, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was so important to people. It was amazing.
It sure was.
Because I was working the door at that time. So the audience coming in, the expectation of what SCTV and Second City meant then was so high. It was incredible. The vibration was like this even before the show started.
Because they never let you down.
Never.
Yeah.
That was an exciting.
And I think 110 Lombard Street was the lodestone.
The fire hall? Was that?
The old fire hall. I think once it left the whole fire hall, I'm not saying immediately, But I think the way they moved it around, and first it was on Wayne Gretzky Way, and then it was on another street, and now it's under the Gardner.
I don't even know where. Yeah, maybe. I remember going. The one that was near Gretzky's was a nice facility.
It was a nice facility. Yeah. I don't know why that one left. Yeah. But the old fire hall was. It was it was the personification of a young person's ambition in improv in those early 80s.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And there were only two. I mean, now there's a great deal. The last 20 years has been a great deal of cross-pollination with stand-up and improv, right?
Yeah, very much.
But in those days, ne'er the twain shall meet. And but that's what's great about this. We both got, between the both of us, we've got an 80-year pedigree in the language of funny. And I'm working with a guy who's has the honor of having won a Gemini for drama and comedy in the first
Traders
in one night.
In one night.
He walked away with them in one night.
Yeah. We'll be back in a moment with more from Ron James. Time once again to speak with Emily Gagne from Hollywood Suite. Emily, what do you got for us this summer?
Well, we've got a little something for everyone, including the exclusive Canadian premiere of The Contestant. I don't know if you've heard of this movie, Bill.
I have heard of it. This is audacious. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's the true story of this Japanese man that was thrown into a reality show without knowing he was being filmed, and he spent a year naked in a room trying to survive on coupons.
Wow. This is like, it's the real Truman Show without clothing, right?
Absolutely. And this movie goes through the whole process back in the day. This happened in the 90s, but then we also talk to him today and see what he's up to. And it just talks about sort of how corrosive reality TV can be. It's a movie that's played at a lot of festivals. So if you're looking to see it, it's coming to Hollywood Suite July 1st, and it'll be on demand anytime you want to watch it.
I got to see that. All right. What else do you have for us this summer?
Well, if you're looking for some more traditional movie watching, we have what's called a Revved Up Summer. So every night in July and August at 9 p.m., we have a different high-octane movie featuring planes, trains, automobiles, etc. So we've got all the Fast and the Furious movies, but also we have, movies like Jackie Brown that have car scenes that are maybe not as high octane, but are still really memorable.
Love Jackie Brown. Well, there it is. Get revved up with Hollywood Suite this summer. Thanks a lot, Emily.
Thanks, Bill.
Can you believe that it's been 25 years since SpongeBob SquarePants first made a splash on television? Well, starting July 10th on Paramount Plus, the seafaring superstar returns for a second season in Camp Coral, SpongeBob's Under Years. Camp activities include staying up all night, monster lessons, digging up prehistoric creatures, and having the best summer ever. What else is premiering this summer on Paramount Plus? Well, check out the music documentary Melissa Etheridge, I'm Not Broken. The singer-songwriter performs a concert at a Topeka prison for women where she spins an inspiring story about addiction and redemption. It all begins streaming July 9th. Paramount also has live WNBA action, the docuseries thriller Mafia Spies, plus the 26th season of CBS's Big Brother. Host Julie Chen Moonves returns with a new bevy of house guests starting July 17th. That's The View from the Peak this July on Paramount Plus, where you'll find a mountain of entertainment for the entire family. And now, back to the show. I just talked to Hart Hansen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what an amazing guy.
He's a truly great guy.
He is
Him
a
and
great
Dave
guy.
Thomas are like best friends.
Yes, they are.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Dave's a good man.
My ambition in life is to get to ride in the back seat of one of Thomas's old caddies with those guys.
Oh, does he
someday.
collect them?
He's got a couple, yeah.
Does he?
And Hart Hansen, yeah, wonderful. Just really warm.
He's a dear guy.
Yeah, learned a lot on Traders, he said. He really...
I would imagine.
Yeah.
He was
Dave was real good to me when I was starting out.
Yeah?
Yeah, the SCTV people used to hire me, and Dave had me as a sidekick in a pilot that never went called Rocket Boy.
Oh, yeah.
That was written by the two guys who went on, Max Pross and Tom Gamble, who went on to went on to write the Gary Shandling Show,
Oh, jeez.
and then co-create the second one. And then they were the writing team in LA for the longest time.
Wow.
Yeah, and the premise of this show was that there was a guy named Hawkhead who was stealing everybody's hair. So there you go. I guess you can go from a wacky premise to rolling
Hawkhead.
And it didn't work, huh?
Rolling in dough. That was Richard Donnet, James Hong, John
Jeez.
Candy.
Heard of him,
I figured I was on my way, man. I figured I'd be on a lunchbox. They go, so you think your head's going to fit in the lunchbox? I said, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. And then, cut to a year later, I'm doing a corporate video for training, playing a hunchback for ergonomic injuries in the workplace. So one of the great things one of the great things about Canadian show business is it keeps you humble.
Yes, and you do everything. Right?
Everything, bro.
Yeah. So
Everything.
When you arrive at a shot, you know what to do, right? So that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Canadians usually have that advantage of having gone in 5 directions, right?
I still don't know why they asked for room tone, but there you go. I still don't know.
Give me an
They
example.
lay the atmosphere in underneath
The scene you were just shooting down by the rocks there, I'm not sure what was going on, if you're looking for Al Capone's vault or what was going on. But what were you improvising in that moment? I know because you had an idea, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was scripted, and the premise of this particular episode is, or this season rather, I just got the stare from Lynn Harvey, is that
somebody's got to keep.
I know. Is that I've gone back to touring after finding the treasure last year turned out to be an opium pipe belonging to Captain Kidd, not the gold and rubies I expected.
Still worth something.
Yeah, well, I can't sell it. And so I'm still trying to make some money on this opium pipe. And so I go back on the road, and Bobby, my producer/manager, has got me into back doing a one-man show again. But in the process of doing the one-man show down this way, I happen to stumble on somebody who ignites my treasure hunting passion again, who tells me about the Golden Grail of Niagara, which is true. Apparently 2 British soldiers deserted and stole gold and buried it here. And it's lived within the mythology or legend of this region for 200 years.
Wow.
And so people have hunted for it, they've looked for it. So all these kind of premises that Tom comes up with that drive the series have their roots in fact.
And all you need is sort of like a grain of truth, right? Like I know we were talking about the Bruce Peninsula and stuff where I'm from. The remember the Boyd gang back in the 50s, right? So apparently he hid some of his loot somewhere in the Bruce. And there's some, but even if that's bullshit, it's a premise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's the location next year, Lynn.
You should.
And Bill's got a cottage up there.
Yes,
said he'd give
guys,
the entire crew.
You can stay. There's 4 bedrooms, 3.5, 3.5. Yeah, come on up.
I know your contact.
Welcome anytime.
You want to do do you want to do a cameo as the wise man of the woods?
I can be the drunken guy in the lake that no one knows who he is. Sure.
Why not?
Absolutely. Didn't grow this for nothing.
Yeah, I hear you. We can just we can make the mustache really yellow, and you can be that chain smoker at the Legion who just sits at the end of the bar eating pickled eggs and passing wind.
I've got all my motivation right there. That's awesome.
We'll give you some skunky draft in it, right?
That's funny. Yeah, I could probably do the yellow mustache on my own, but sure. I did a little on Murdoch Mysteries. They dragged me in, and I did a cameo, and I was a miner, and they yellowed my teeth and all that stuff, and then they glued hair. Made me look like I do now, kind of thing. It was kind of fun.
Yeah. Have you done one of those?
Oh yeah, a couple. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
I'm right. That one.
Yeah. And as well as what's his name? Oh my God.
Yannick Bisson?
No. Pat. Anyway, it's terrible getting old, isn't it, Ron?
Oh,
you can picture the face and everything, but you can't.
I know.
We've been saying that
so much more in our brains now.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Lynn.
Anything else?
Gordon Pinson's son-in-law. I'm thinking
Peter Callahan.
Peter Callahan.
Oh yeah, he's a good buddy of ours.
Yeah, he's on Murdoch as well now.
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah. So,
did you ever see our Franklin sketch? Me and Pat and I should send it to you. Me and Pat and Callahan.
No.
Oh my, it was great. It was one of my. Oh, nice hawk! Look at the hawk.
Beautiful.
Excellent. And I just, pardon me, I'm a bird watcher. I'm just a little moist
It's
right
like
now.
driving with my wife. That's all Janice says. We're driving like, fuck! And it's like, holy Jesus, what, in the car? What? No. Don't do that. Just...
That's what they used to say in the touring company. I'd be hawk spotting.
Yeah.
And McGrath would go, Ern, wake up! There goes a deer with a hawk in his mouth. McGrath, eh? There goes a hawk with a rat. Oh, you know. There goes a hawk with antlers on his head. Shut the fuck up.
Good luck to see one.
Is it?
Isn't it? Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
We were saying, though, before I saw the hawk, what were we talking about? What was it?
Something about
Memory.
the
Show.
Pat McKenna. No.
No, Callahan and...
show. Oh, Franklin.
Franklin, yeah. We shot a great scene. Me and
yeah.
Peter. Yeah, we had 3 sketches with them. And what Lynn's team managed to do with a minimal budget, they're Gemini Award winners or CSA Award winners, Andy and Pete. They dressed up Fort York 2 years in a row to make it look like, Franklin shipped the terror.
Yeah.
And of course, the premise of that was, who we're going to eat today. But
who's the most well marbled of the crew?
We had fun, didn't we? Yeah. Callahan's a great actor. Yeah, and the best comedic actors the country's ever produced.
Yeah,
I think so too.
So second season, is there 7? How many episodes are you doing?
We got 7 this year, and we're number 1 on 5.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's an interesting platform. I know I talked to Mary Walsh about her show, and where she's, have you seen her show?
No,
on
I have not, no.
Yeah, it's a premise. It's her and this young guy lives in the building above her in a house, and it's just her being at her outrageous best. It
Right.
works pretty well. And I don't. You said you had, Jayne Eastwood on the first season, right?
We have Jayne Eastwood
Not
and
the first season. She's with us next week.
Oh, fantastic!
and
Wow.
Paul Sun Hyung Lee.
Paul Sun Hyung Lee's
great.
on.
Great.
And do you watch Sort of?
Yep.
Yeah. So Amanda Cordrin.
Cordner or something?
Cordner. Yeah.
Is she the redhead?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know what.
And we've
She's here
got-
today actually.
Oh, nice.
Just in makeup.
Nice.
And we've got Aurora Brown and
wow.
we've got Aurora Brown and Chris Siddiqui.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of those guys and everybody.
And Tony Nappo.
Oh my God.
Big
Yeah.
man in Canadian.
Tony's the
film
best,
business.
right?
Isn't he great?
He is the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good guy.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Oh, it's
What the hell?
But you know what? That's the mandate for the rest of my life in terms of work.
Yeah.
Is it still fun?
Right.
It just the great sense of community and comedic spirit, and that's what makes it worthwhile.
I hear people who've been on doing this for a long time. They're on their 4th show or whatever, and their golden rule is no assholes. Like there's a no asshole policy at one point in your life, right?
It's pretty well the line in the sand now. Right?
Right.
And it doesn't take long to reveal themselves.
Right.
You can pick it out pretty quick.
Yeah. That's great.
I was on a set one day going, where's Joe? Joe's not here anymore.
Honest to God.
They clean the house when
They
it's
should
that bad.
do a
house.
show called All Assholes, and maybe just put them all in one.
But isn't that the point about being older too?
Yeah.
That 65 is like you don't need that.
What did Dave Broadfoot say? Old enough to say what I want, right? Or something. Right?
I love Dave Broadfoot. He was a good man.
Yeah.
He was a good cat. I opened for him in Muskoka.
Really?
Way back. He was 65 years old at the time, and he did an hour and a half, and he covered the whole stage. And I remember standing behind the curtain watching him, being so impressed and saying, I want to be able to love my work like that.
Right.
And I was only new to the game. Anyway, there were 2, comedy snobs from Queen Street West who have since been swallowed by time and forgotten, who were somewhat condescending about it. And I turned to them and said, if you can fucking do that at 65.
He's a master craftsman.
Right?
His
A
golden
master
rule,
craftsman.
golden rule, never let an audience get cold. Start on time. I remember him telling me that.
Well, he was...
Because Luba Goy drove him crazy.
Why? She's
always late.
Luba? That's odd. She would drive somebody crazy.
Yeah.
I get
Well, my thanks to publicist Jill Spitz for setting up this interview with Ron and with Patrick. Thanks as always to Phil Hong for producing these episodes. He is a one-man treasure. Give it up for those crispy critters, BJ Del Conte and Paul Boudra, as well as piano man Steve Dudley, for the full-on 80s rock heard on these podcasts. Thanks to our sponsors, and if you'd like to join us and get your message out on these episodes, please get in touch at briotv@rogers.com. That's BRIOUXTV@rogers.com. Finally, thanks to you, listener. And if you liked what you heard, please support us with a like or a review. I'm Bill Brio. Thanks for listening.